Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're going over to Osborne Bay together. I thought what better way to show you guys what sailing in the Solent is like than to kind of record a fairly gentle sail over to Osborne Bay in the Isle of Wight. The plan was to try and get over there before the tide turned and then have a bit of a swim, have a bit of lunch and then head back. Mostly went to plan, but there was a few hiccups along the way, so I thought I'd take you guys and show you what it's like. This was a bit of a special occasion. It was the very first time we had to go diving off our boat. I say diving in the loosest of terms, but yeah, no, it was really fun, and you look forward to seeing the footage later. It was really tidal, and the stream was running pretty quick, so it was one of those jump in and make sure you get back to the boat quick, otherwise you could end up swimming quite a long distance to get back to safety, so a little bit scary, a little bit sketchy, but all in all it was fine, and we all made it back. I would definitely suggest, if you're ever trying something like this, you want to make sure you have a safety line or like a rope attached to the boat that you can grab if you do miss it. Definitely safety first. If you're dealing with tidal waters and swimming, currents can take you away really quickly, so yeah, get a decent amount of rope. We had a like a pool ring thing, inflatable ring attached to a fairly long rope that we had dangling off the side, so if we did miss the boat, that was there to grab, so safety first. So we're going to go ahead and assume that you've probably not sailed around the south coast of the UK much, and specifically maybe not gone in and out of Gosport Marina. This, what you can see here, is actually the harbour entrance to Portsmouth Harbour, and it's a really fantastic place to sail. It's fairly chill getting in and out, but you do need to pay attention. There's a lot of traffic going in and out, so a lot of big boats, ferries. There's a ferries that go over to France. There's cruise ships that come in and out, and there's also a lot of military British Navy ships just behind, and I'm sure we'll show in another video. Our next door neighbours are two aircraft carriers. We've not actually seen them go out, but when they do, basically there's a bit of a standstill, so you're not going to be getting out in a little sailboat. When you're coming in and out of this channel, what you need to do as a small ship is just stick right to the right side of it. There's actually a separate small ships channel on the right side. That's why we're not that's why we are where we are. It does get a bit choppy here, as you'll probably see in a minute, and what we tend to do is not put our sails up until we get out past the channel. You can find somewhere in the Portsmouth Harbour to put the sails up, but what you're supposed to do is have a motor on at least. So even if you're sailing, you should be motoring when you're going in and out according to the harbour master regulations. So here we're just about to exit. That's the information you can see on the blue board on the left, maybe, of the VHF channel you're supposed to be on. And yeah, we're just kind of pounding through this little bit of slush. The reason for that is basically, as I say, the tide's going out at this point and the wind's coming towards us, so there's a bit of a wind over tide situation. But yeah, next up we're going to get the sails up. So here you can see the hovercraft going past in not too far ahead of us, but a little bit, and we're trying to get our main sail up. So I'm at the boom and I'm just pulling down on the halyard, and then you can see my wonderful wife there is kind of putting the slack through. There's no weight on that because essentially there's like a one-way clutch that stops it going back the other way, but the slack needs to be pulled through, so she's just steering and doing that. The most important thing here is, while she's turning, is you need to be basically steering into wind, otherwise the sail catches too much wind and you can't actually get the sail up. Well, you might be able to, but it's a lot harder. So here the sail is up finally, and we're going to actually start sailing. Still got the motor on at this point, still like motoring along, because you want to have control, but there you can see we catch the wind, and technically we're sailing here. So next job is to get the sails out, or all the sails out. So this is the head sail, which I'm basically letting the furling line out with one hand and then putting it with the other, and that's unfurling the head sail, which on our boat is a big Genoa. Nearly there now. Just passing that over. It's pretty much out at this point, so you just need to do one more pull and then grind it in a little bit. We were quite lucky actually. On this sail we managed to get, I think, nearly the whole way down one tack, although the wind did die at some point so we had to motor a little bit, which I'll explain shortly. But there's some decent sailing to start off with. It was maybe 5-6 knots of wind. We had the tide going out under us, so we got maybe a knot of speed from the tide, and we were doing between 3 and 4 knots heading out there. Luckily on the way back there was a lot more wind. We could make some decent progress and it was a bit more fun. I don't think we caught it on camera, but there was actually, I don't know if it was a competition or just a charity event, but a lot of people were swimming across. So they were basically being escorted by a cavalcade of some motorboats with alarms on the top, which whenever there was a jet ski that was flying towards them at the rate of knots, they got shouted at. Yeah, we just kind of got past in front of them and had a quick chat with one of those canoeists as well. So each swimmer had a canoe with them, basically looking after them, and the motorboats were basically warning off traffic from running them over, which wouldn't be pleasant. I wouldn't want to swim across the Solent. It's not that it's hugely far, but there's just so much boat traffic. It would be really unpleasant, like really stressful. I guess you've got to just put your head down and forget about it. But same with the channel. Like, even though it's it's a big swim, but I'd be more scared of the giant ships than anything else. So here we're just sailing along in fairly light winds. We've got both the full main and full head sail up. You can see it's flapping a little bit, so we just need to trim the sails somewhat. I think there was a few wind shifts that day, so even though we're trying to keep the same heading, the wind was shifting around, and then it shifted completely after lunch. But basically what she's doing there is just grinding in the rope, which pulls it in tighter, so that pulls the sail to a better shape, so we can get more speed and it doesn't flap about. So yeah, that's pretty much the trip over to Osborne Bay. I'll leave you guys with myself.
Why is this called?
Champagne sailing.
Why? You can just drinking champagne and sail. This iPad is 6 knots of wind, force 2, but because of really light, so it's really calm. With a full sail up, engine off. Yeah, you couldn't hear any engine sound earlier. Yeah, you couldn't hear any engine sound. And then that guy is doing the lazy sailing, but he say, hey, you need to tell me there's a boat coming. So basically he say, I'm going to do the champagne sailing, and wife, you stand up and look at other boat.
So unfortunately we've had to give up on sailing. There's like less than a knot of wind. We're actually doing really well.
3 knot wind, 2 knot boat speed.
Yeah, we're doing 3 knots. In 3 knots of wind we're doing 2 knots boat speed, which isn't bad. We did have the tide with us. The reason we're motoring is the tide's going to turn in less than an hour. And if we're going that way, and the tide's going that way, and there's no wind, we're just going to go back that way. So we're heading over to Osborne Bay, and it looks pretty busy there at the moment. We might have to struggle to find a good spot, but we'll see when we get a bit closer. It was actually really good sailing until the wind died. Hoping it's 1 o'clock now, so we're hoping maybe by 2 or 3 it will fill in and we'll be able to sail back after having like an hour break lunch or something, but we'll see. We're just gently motoring at the moment. There's absolutely 0 waves. It's really chill. So, how you doing?
I keep fish myself.
Show them around.
I catch myself more than fish.
Yeah.
This guy is going to have a swim. Careful, yeah?
Yeah,
Is it really cold?
probably.
You prepare for it, yeah?
Ready?
Okay. Woo! Okay. You wanna swim that way and come back this way, no? Or is that too cold?
Yeah, it's quite cold. It's tide strong as well, so you see how quickly I went to the back?
Yeah.
Swim in the sea, in the deep, deep sea. There it is.
Oh, it's cool.
3 meters deep. It's actually not too bad when you dive in.
Whoa. I'm not going to let go. I can see the rudder.
Look good?
Yeah. I'm scared.
Hold on to the ring. Don't sit in it. You might slide you through. That's not stable, right? Yeah. Yeah, you're coming back up. Okay, so what are you doing?
What you doing?
First ever lunch at anchor.
With sandwich, picnic table, and 2 coffee.
So after we finished lunch, had a bit of a swim in the sea, started to recharge the batteries, had the solar panel out, and recharged ourselves, had a cup of coffee, a bit of a chill. We thought it was a good time to put up the anchor and head back. Luckily the wind filled in a lot and we were able to have a pretty good sail back, as you can probably see here. Unfortunately we're still trying to perfect the art of tacking our boat. In this tack here it's a little bit messy. Unfortunately it got the line on the port side got stuck a little bit, which meant we couldn't pull it all the way through, which meant it got a bit flappy and a little bit not the most beautiful of tacks, but we're learning. Obviously when you're doing your day skipper, your competent crew, all those, you got 4, 5, up to 6 people on board. Handling a boat with 2 is a lot different. Still getting used to it, because essentially you've got one person doing both lines for the head sail. But yeah, no, it was a wonderful sail back. We managed to race a few boats. We got to practice our car regs a little bit. There's a few times where I think you can see here in a minute we're on the port tack and the boat we're crossing is on the starboard tack, and it was a little bit close, so we decided the best course of action was to bear away following the car regs. And yeah, we raced a few boats back as well. There's a few boats that we encountered on the way and we were actually flying past them. Our little Mazu is does really well, so happy with that. But yeah, much more wind, probably averaging force 3, force 4, so about between 12 up to about 16 knots I think it was, gusting a little bit at 17, but mostly well above north of 10 knots on the way back, which meant we were hitting up to, I think the fastest we saw was about 7.4 knots boat speed, averaging more like 5 or 6 once you account for those terrible tacks. Got back in, I think it's about 6, 7 o'clock at night. It's definitely starting to get quieter out in the sea. On the way back the tide was with us again, as the tide was setting, so it was perfect timing for getting back in. Not too cold, but yeah, really nice day out on the water. Hopefully you're going to do something similar next time, maybe a bit further, I'm not sure. But yeah, thanks very much for watching if you've got this far. Do the old like, favourite, subscribe, ding dongs, all that. It's starting a new YouTube channel is definitely a challenge, so really appreciate it if anybody likes this content to drop a comment, tell us what you'd like to see. We're hopefully going to do a mix of like more cruisy stuff like this, where we're kind of going on actual sailing, and then want to do some videos around the boat, what we like about it, what we don't, and kind of some maybe more review videos of the kit that we bought and kind of what we feel about it after using it. But yeah, thank you again, and we'll see you very soon.